Well, I'm glad he wants to get on to our responsibilities to pay our taxes. I think that's very important. I thought his tax return was a metaphor for Labour policy. It was late, it was chaotic, it was inaccurate, it was uncosted. That's exactly turning to the specific questions, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right to identify the tax gap, and that is why we closed off loopholes in the last Parliament, equivalent of £12 billion. We aim to close off loopholes in this Parliament, equivalent to £16 billion. So the HMRC is taking very strong action, backed by this government, backed by the Chancellor, legislated for by this House, and I think I'm right in saying that since 2010, we've put actually over £1 billion into HMRC to increase its capabilities to collect the tax that people should be paying. The difference, I think, between this side of the House and the Right Honourable Gentleman is we believe in setting low tax rates and encouraging people to pay them, and it's working.
Mr Speaker, I'm grateful to the Prime Minister for drawing attention to my own tax return. There, warts and all, the warts being my handwriting, all being my generous donation to HMRC. I actually paid more tax than some companies owned by people that he might know quite well. The Prime Minister isn't... Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister isn't cutting tax abuse, he's cutting down on tax collectors. The tax collected helps to fund our NHS and all the other services. Last month, the OBR reported that HMRC doesn't have the necessary resources to tackle offshore tax disclosures. The government is committed to taking £400 million out of HMRC's budget by 2020. Will he now commit to reversing that cut so that we can collect the tax that will help to pay for the services?
I'm afraid his figures, rather like his tax return, his figures aren't entirely accurate. At the summer budget 2015, we gave an extra £800 million to HMRC to fund additional work to tackle tax evasion and non-compliance between now and 2021. This is going to enable HMRC to recover a cumulative £7.2 billion in tax over the next 5 years. And we've already brought in more than £2 billion from offshore tax evaders since 2010. But the point I'd make to him, I think we should try and bring some consensus to this issue. For years in this country, Labour governments and Conservative governments had an attitude to the Crown dependencies and the overseas territories that their tax affairs were a matter for them, and their compliance affairs were a matter for them, and their transparency was a matter for them. This government has changed that. We got the overseas territories, we got the Crown dependencies round the table. We said you've got to have registers of ownership, you've got to collaborate with the UK government, you've got to make sure people don't hide their taxes, and it's happening. So when he gets to his feet, he should welcome the fact that huge progress has been made, raising taxes, sorting out the overseas territories and Crown dependencies, closing the tax gap, getting businesses to pay more, giving international leadership to this whole issue, all things that never happened under Labour.